So arguably the best guy on our roster, Davante Adams. I'm still giddy about it. Still get a little shimmy in my shoulders when I say Davante Adams.
In your plums.
Deep down in my plums, the bluish hue. It's the silver and black hue down in my plums. And so The Athletic, the writers Jeff Howe, did just some news and notes on multiple things. One of the things he talked about was kind of the details of what happened with Davante Adams getting traded to the Raiders. So let's give you the quick Cliff Notes part of it. Adams, according to this report, had told the Packers that he wanted out. They franchise tagged him, and they thought, okay, he's just playing hardball. I want out. It's a negotiation play. Then Davante Adams called Matt LaFleur, the GM, and other Packers decision out that Adams really had this hard on to be a Raider.
Okay. And
so he said, all right, so you got to trade. We'll talk about it. And as we know, it ended up being a first and a second for Davante Adams. The negotiation with Adams took less than a day. And to make him the highest paid player of that position at the moment, to be done in a day, they either automatically agreed or super easy to deal with, whatever it was. That's not normally that common. The other sticking point, the other part that kind of got me is, and I'll put this up for you, the deal that nearly hit a snag when the Packers asked for a player in return. Initially, the Raiders offered their first-round pick and the 2023 second-rounder. And then shortly after, the Packers asked for the first-rounder and an undisclosed player. The Raiders weren't going to do it. And I guess it's kind of against league rules to do a trade with a player and another player who's on a franchise tag. I have no idea why that's a rule or the reasoning behind it, but you can't do a player-for-player trade if one's on a franchise tag. So it couldn't have happened anyway. But there was a player that the Packers wanted, and the Raiders were unwilling to give up, even if it was Davante Adams. So, first question, who do you think that player was? Who do you think the Packers thought that they asked for, that they feasibly thought they could get from the Raiders with a first-rounder and Davante Adams?
Well, the thing is your ask, if you're the Packers, doesn't have to be reasonable. You could ask for whoever you want. You could ask for Derek Carr back if you want. Yeah. So I'm thinking they probably asked for Waller.
That's pretty ballsy. Give me a first and Waller.
Why not?
Davante Adams. It's ballsy, especially with how good Waller's contract is. That's asking. Yeah. It's a big ask.
Yeah. What do you think?
I'm thinking Renfro. I think they think they could have got that. A Renfro deal, a good slot receiver for Rodgers.
Good timing guy.
Roll with.
Like I said, a similar skill set to Davante Adams. Maybe not as big and not as fast, but excellent getting open. Can get open in short spaces. Timing. He's where he's supposed to be. Very heady player. Yeah, makes sense.
I'm just very curious of what the Packers think, because they have to assume they're in win now mode with Aaron Rodgers pushing 40. And so like a young developmental player, which is because Waller and Renfro are both, right? Like they're Pro Bowlers right this second, but they're also young guys. They can be part of your franchise.
Hasn't reached their ceiling yet.
Yeah, not even close, right? So they're that. They could have also thought just straight up like a Colton Miller, a Denzel Perryman. Like it could be like a win now, like expensive guy, right? I don't think Crosby, because the Raiders just paid him. That'd be weird.
Grip of money too.
Yeah, he's not cheap. I don't know.
Yeah, I think your line of thinking when I said Waller was right. Somebody who is an ascending player who's good now on a good contract. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Waller and Renfro are probably the only two guys that make sense in that respect.
I wonder if Waller would have demanded a new contract if he got traded, though. If he'd been like, "Hey, all right, we're going," but
I don't doubt it. I would too. I'm not playing if you don't fucking pay me. I know what the bullshit. Well, look what happened to Davante Adams. Like, look at how they jerked him around. Like, I'm not setting a foot on your practice field until I get a new fucking contract. So good luck with that.
The other part of this is
they would have had to give it to him too, because they just traded for him.
Yeah. The other reason I brought this up, kind of the main reason I brought it up, it's fun to talk about who the disclosed player was, but this story just kind of solidifies what I've been saying for a while, that we've both been saying for a while, of, every offseason, every fan base says, go get Tom Brady, go get Davante Adams, go get this Pro Bowler, go get this 3-time Super Bowl champ. Why can't we go get him? And it almost never happens. Now, this offseason is kind of the exception, right? Like,
it actually did it.
This is the rare exception.
A lot of movement.
It's a lot, right? It's like the NBA offseason, this NFL offseason. But again, all those things that happened are still rare because it's not like the NFL went Yosemite Sam and just started shooting guns all over the place and just anarchy. It's more like the stars aligned and then realigned for every one of these individual spots. Like we talked about how Russell Wilson getting traded from Seattle to Denver, like everything had to go right for that to happen, right? He was unhappy there, the contract situation. He had a no trade clause and it was somewhere he wanted to be. Like it was all these things that kind of lined up. Davante Adams trade, same exact thing. Like it had to be a guy that had the respect of the organization when he says, trade me or I'm not playing. Because a lot of players say that all the time. And teams often don't move on, right? With Davante, they're like, you have our respect. Okay. There had to be a team that can afford him, both with draft picks and money, which the Raiders were. There had to be a place he wanted to go, which it just so happens his college teammate and one of his best friends had been talking about it forever. It just so happened the Raiders desperately needed a number 1 X receiver. All right, everyone obviously wants a Davante Adams on their team. But to trade him and get him, it took all those things to happen, the timing to be exactly right for Davante Adams to wear this silver and black. So this is just, again, another example of, it happens, trading for the superstar player. But almost every single time a player's awesome, he doesn't leave that team. It rarely happens. And that's why they're called blockbuster trades, because they don't happen often. And if they do, it's because all the ducks were exactly in a row and the timing was perfect. And Davante Adams was no exception.
Yeah, it's true. It's everything just lined up perfectly. And that's why Davante Adams was rumored to the Raiders for so long. It's because it was a fit. It just the timing had to be right. And everything just fell right into the right places. You have a new regime that's maybe a little bit more forward thinking in their philosophy.
I didn't even mention that part, right?
And like you mentioned, all the other things fell into place. It wouldn't be as unprecedented a move. We already saw, a lot of big players being traded. I mean, Mac got traded, Russell Wilson got traded, so a lot of big players were already moving. So it kind of gets the juices going a little bit. It's not like,
the offseason was already drunk. So they went to the next bar.
Yeah, right. Like nobody trades their star player, and 2 teams just did it in the consecutive days, basically. So, a lot of stuff had to fall into place, and the pieces fit just perfect, and everything fell into place at the right time. Timing is the biggest thing, though.
Huge. Congratulations for making it all the way to the end of our video. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes next season and for Max Crosby to have 30 sacks, go ahead and subscribe and click the next video.